Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into a deep, really foundational conflict that sits right at the core of human identity, especially, in modernizing societies. It's this fundamental clash between family honor and individual freedom. Our sources for this deep dive are intensely focused on examining how these two, while immensely powerful forces interact, often violently actually, within a single human life. Our mission today is kind of like a shortcut. We're extracting the most important insights regarding this tension, tracing exactly why one person's choices are sometimes seen as representing an entire lineage, and what happens when that lineage pushes back in vast swaths of the world, and our material really highlights cultures from East Asia to the Middle East family, is far more than just blood. It's the essential source of a person's identity, their economic safety net, their pride, and, crucially, their social currency. The concept of family honor holds this deep ingrained belief that the individual's actions represent the character and integrity of the entire family unit, sometimes spanning generations past and future. You don't just act for yourself, you carry the weight of your history. It's heavy stuff. But here's where it gets really interesting. Modern, globalized society, heavily influenced by Western ideals, champions another core value: the right to choose your own path, regardless of tradition. That is individual freedom. So, the critical question posed by our sources is this: how do we navigate this divide? And can we achieve personal truth without tearing the fabric of connection and community completely apart? It's a huge question. For centuries, family honor served as the pillar of community structure. It wasn't just about feeling good, it functioned as a cohesive social contract. Really practical. It served as a moral compass, holding up values like respect, loyalty, responsibility, and deference to age. The sources underscore that in traditional societies, this expectation was pervasive and intense. Even seemingly minor decisions, the perceived attitude of a son, right? Or the vocational or marital choices of a daughter, or even how a family handled a debt, were viewed as direct reflections of the family's moral integrity. This collective identity creates profoundly powerful bonds. It unifies the individual with the group. But, and this is a big but, it also creates immense pressure. To understand the gravity of this, we have to look closely at the concept of face, often referred to in Asian contexts as kimyeon or myeonji. This isn't just about feeling embarrassed. Face is social capital. It's real. What's fascinating here is that losing face wasn't just a matter of hurt feelings, it was a tangible risk. For a family operating within a close knit community, loss of honor could mean losing access to business connections, community support networks, or even preferred marriage prospects for younger siblings. Think about that impact. The sources clarify that when the individual acts, they are truly putting the family's survival, not just their reputation, on the line. This economic and social reliance makes the collective identity function as a safety net, sure, but also as a powerful, sometimes unforgiving gatekeepers. However, this emphasis on collective identity comes with a massive, often hidden cost. The constant instruction to do not bring shame, it often translates into a far more restrictive message, a requirement for conformity, blind obedience, and the suppression of what is deeply personal voice. It's basically a message that says, be invisible if visibility means deviation from the norm. Don't rock the boat. We see this tension played out in heartbreaking real-world conflicts mentioned in the sources. Think of the daughter whose passion is building a global tech startup, right? Prioritizing that demanding, exciting career trajectory over the traditional expectation of immediate marriage and children. Or consider the son who feels a calling to pursue the path of art or maybe environmental activism, instead of the family-approved, high-status, respectable profession that was carefully planned for him since birth. In the family honor context, these individuals are often seen not just as making questionable choices, but as actively damaging the entire family's pride, their hard-earned himyeon, their face. In this scenario, honor transforms. It goes from a beautiful symbol of unity into a crushing yoke that actively suffocates individual dreams and personal truth. It demands conformity over authenticity, every time. So, if family honor provides the anchor and the safety net, what happens when that anchor becomes a chain? That's where we turn our focus to the rise of individual freedom. The opposing gravitational pull, if you like. Individual freedom is rooted in the right of each person to define their own happiness, their own truth, their own path. The modern ideal is living authentically, being absolutely honest with oneself, even if that honesty challenges deeply held family beliefs. And it often does. Our sources note that in Western societies, this freedom is often treated as a sacred, almost inalienable right. It forms the bedrock for movements focused on gender equality, minority rights, self-expression, self-determination, all that good stuff. The power of this freedom is undeniable. I mean, it allows for creativity, innovation, personal fulfillment, things that rigid conformity simply cannot permit. It stifles them. It allows you to become the most realized version of yourself, unshackled from inherited expectations. But, and here's the counterpoint, if we connect this ideal to the bigger picture, the sources offer a critical caution. Unlimited freedom, the kind that completely disregards family considerations or communal feelings, well, that can also create severe unintended problems. It shifts from being a liberation to maybe a form of radical selfishness. The analysis of the negative outcomes of pure self centric freedom is pretty fascinating. It can result in deep personal isolation, which often manifests as chronic loneliness, even when we're constantly connected online. Even more critically, it creates what the sources call a yawning generational gap. This gap isn't just an age difference, it's a fundamental breakdown in communication, where parents and children literally cannot comprehend each other's motivations or value systems. It's like speaking different languages. The language of individual choice becomes completely foreign to the language of collective responsibility, and vice versa. The sources suggest that when freedom lacks that crucial element of empathy, that responsibility to a larger unit, it hardens into another type of social wall, a rigidity where the self is the only consideration. True fulfillment, they argue, cannot be found in total isolation because, well, humans are fundamentally social creatures. We need each other. We need connection to thrive. And the pursuit of pure atomized freedom often sacrifices that necessary connection. So we've laid out the tension, right? Honor provides structure and connection, but demands conformity. Freedom offers authenticity and self-determination, but risks isolation and selfishness. If both extremes, crushing honor and isolating freedom, lead to societal fragmentation, which value is superior, is one better? The sources move beyond a simple comparison. They land on a critical synthesis. The answer isn't a bland middle ground of compromise. It's a dynamic state of balance. And crucially, it's achieved through negotiation. That's the key word. These two values are not diametrically opposed enemies. They are two essential threads required to weave a strong, resilient social fabric. Family honor, when properly purified of its oppressive rigidity, offers a crucial, timeless reminder. A reminder of responsibility, that our actions extend beyond ourselves and inevitably affect those closest to us. It forces us to remain grounded in our community and lineage, to remember where we came from. Conversely, individual freedom provides the necessary foundation for authenticity. The realization that a life spent in perpetual conformity, without self-expression or personal truth, well, that's merely existence, not living. It gives us the space to evolve and seek our own truth. The ideal society, our sources conclude, is one that learns to embrace both simultaneously. This requires a fundamental shift in family dynamics, though. It's not easy. A family structure that respects honesty and dialogue over blind obedience, that's huge. A system where communication and mutual understanding replace rigid, non-negotiable conformity. And a community where tradition acts as an inspiration and a guide rather than a tool for immediate, unquestioning oppression. The practical insight here is that balance is often achieved through generational negotiation, where the burden shifts a bit. Instead of the individual being solely responsible for conforming to the family's past, the family must take responsibility for adapting to the needs and authentic choices of the rising generation. This adaptation honors the past while actually securing the future. It's about flexibility. This leads us back to the source's beautiful concluding metaphor, which gives us a great visual. Family honor and individual freedom are the two foundational threads making up the human social fabric. Imagine that cloth. If one thread is pulled too tight, whether it's crushing honor or isolating freedom, the whole fabric tears, resulting in loss of self on one side or loss of connection on the other. Both are damaging. The goal is for both threads to harmonize, to allow that natural tension to be managed and woven together, so the fabric becomes stronger, more resilient, and ultimately more beautiful, because it accommodates both collective history and personal truth. We've seen today how family honor provides collective stability and responsibility, important stuff, while individual freedom offers personal truth and self-definition, also incredibly important. The deep dive shows that finding the delicate meeting point between these two, that balance, it's absolutely key to building a resilient, empathetic, and truly fulfilling society, one that can actually weather the winds of modernization without falling apart. I want to leave you with the central question our sources posed, a thought for you to explore as you go about your day. Is walking your own chosen path truly damaging your family's honor? Or is it perhaps the very beginning of redefining what honor means for a new era? Could true honor in the modern age be measured not by adherence to rigid convention, but by the family's courage and capacity to support a member living a truthful, authentic, and responsible life? Something to think about.